first vocab word is reciprocal, and I know that sounds all fancy and you're impressed with all my math knowledge. It's actually pretty easy. It's finding the inverse of a number, or the flip, okay? So in this case, the reciprocal of 1/4 would be 4, because you're flipping it. Or if I had 4, the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. You're flipping it. So imagine a fraction and trading the numerator and denominator, and there's the reciprocal. Okay, so it's as simple as that.
So you could have a fraction like 3/4, and then the reciprocal would be 4/3. Okay.
Yep. And then the next one, and we're really giving you this one because we're going to refer to the divisor a lot. So the dividend and the quotient aren't necessarily ones that you have to know, but the divisor is the number that will be divided into the dividend. So your big number you're dividing by, which is your dividend, is divided by your divisor. And the answer of a division problem is a quotient, which you guys probably have heard that before. So write down the words. If you want to write down a picture to help you, do that as well. And then come back, because you are going to need to take your journal page and do something a little weird with it. So write those down, and then,
Here we go. Okay, so first of all, we're going to go through a number of steps, but don't worry about writing those down. We are going to be very nice to you and just give you like a little strip of paper so you can just pay more attention to the process of how to do this.
Yep.
So your job is in your math journal. Probably help if you have a fresh new page, just because depending on space.
Yeah.
But just put like 4 squares, because we're going to focus on 4 different problems and different scenarios that might come up, and we want you to separate each one.
And so you'll just be like writing the problem down to start, and then we'll be building on from each of those. So you'll be using these 4 squares quite a bit.
Yeah. So don't write super huge either, because you're going to be changing throughout. So allow space in each one.
Yep.
All right. So first of all, let's just look at number 1. Or actually, I should at least mention the step. Step 1 is to convert whole numbers to fractions, or changed mixed numbers to fractions. Now, if you look at number 1, and you're going to want to write this down, it says 3/4 divided by 1/4. Well, we don't have any whole numbers, and we don't have any mixed numbers, so we don't have to do step 1 in this case. You're good. So that's all you should have. There you go.
I think it might come up a mirror image when you look at it, but it'll look something like that.
Now for number 2, though, sometimes you can have something like this, 3 divided by 1/4, and you guys are getting so good with fractions right away. You see this whole number and you think, oh yeah, I can just put a 1 as the denominator, and now I do have a fraction.
Yep.
So that's all you need to do for number 2. Your 3 turned into 3/1 now.
Yep.
Nice and simple. Number 3, you could have here 1/4 divided by 3. So now your 3, or your whole number, is your divisor here. And same thing though. You can just put a 1 underneath it. Now it's a fraction. That's all you need to do. Now number 4 is a little bit harder. This is applying what you learned earlier when we went over fractions. You have 2 1/4 divided by 3/4. So in this case, you do have to remember your good old skills on changing a mixed number into a fraction, improper fraction. So we change, if you remember, you have 2 times 4 equals 8, and then you add the 1, so you have 9/4 now. Hopefully you remember that. And then you just have 9/4 divided by 3/4.
Notice all we're trying to do with this first step is get 2 fractions side by side to divide.
Yep.
That's it. That's all this step is about. Those are just some of the things you might run into. All right, so step number 2. So you should have those 4 problems written on your paper. I only have 1. Now we're going to take those problems and apply step 2. So step 2 is to find the reciprocal of the divisor, which is the second number. Notice those vocab words we just
Yeah, there they are.
Okay, so our first problem was 3/4 divided by 1/4. So we're taking the reciprocal of the second number. So the second number is 1/4. We're going to flip it, and it becomes 4/1. That's all I did. Okay, so question 2, we had 3, and we had converted that to a fraction already. So 3/1 divided by 1/4, And again, I'm going to flip my second number. We don't want that. We want that. Okay. Our third one, again, you first started by turning it into a fraction. So 1/4 divided by 3 over 1. Now I'm going to flip my second number. So we're finding the reciprocal. And then this last one you already converted. So I am going to take my second number 3/4 and find the reciprocal, which is 4/3. So go through on your paper, and if you want to rewrite the problem, that's fine. If you want to just sort of, I don't know, rewriting it would be nicer
Yeah.
than just scribbling
You
over
can't
it. So
cover it
just
up with
rewrite it
things.
like this. The next step you might be able to scribble over.
Yeah.
So go ahead, make sure that you have the problem so they look like this, though, because that's going to be important for the next step.
Now, step number 3. This one is super easy because all you have to do now that you've done your flip is you replace the division symbol with the multiplication symbol. So there you go. Your 3/4 divided by 4 over 1 is now just 3/4 times 4 over 1. Same thing with number 2. All you have to do is change that division sign.
I think step 3 is like the easiest step of all.
Yeah.
It's also easy to forget, so don't forget it.
Right. So hopefully these bouncing little X's are reminding you, oh yes, we need to change that division sign to multiplication.
So we just took what we did from step 2 and crossed out the division and made it multiplication.
Yay.
Then the next step, we already know how to do this.
We know this.
Multiply. So multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. So 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 1 is 4. So you can then just write equals and then put that next to it. So number 2, again, I'm taking what I had from step 3, the inverse, or the reciprocal. I use those terms synonymously. They mean the same thing. I just multiply across again. So 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 1 is 1. Number 3, again, I'm just going straight across. So 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 3 is 12. The last one, 9/4 times 4/3, 9 times 4 is 36, 4 times 3 is 12. So we are
some
getting.
Of you might have noticed that you could have simplified first rather than later.
Oh, we are getting there. Step 5, simplify.
Yes. All right, here we go. And so you ended up with 12 over 4. And as you know, that little fraction bar just means divide. So you can end up now with 3. For number 2, we have 12 over 1. And once again, just simplifying, you could look at 12 over 1 now as a whole number again, which would equal 12. Number 3, we ended up with 1/12. I can't simplify anymore, so that is your final answer. That's it. And then the last one, number 4. This is where we were talking about definitely you could have simplified before or now too. 36 divided by 12 will equal 3 again. And there you go.
All right. So our last thing is just a cute little trick. So it's just quickly keep, change, flip. As simple as that. If you can remember those 3 things, you can divide fractions. So keep the first, change the division sign to multiplication, and flip the second number. Then you just solve.
Yep.
That's it. Keep, change, flip.
I like that.
I would write that down.
Yeah.
That's a nice little catchy one.
Keep, change, flip. There might be a song in the future. We'll see.
Yes.
All right. And look at this. A little friendly reminder again of what you keep, what you change, and what you flip. So we are just going to have you, now that you've seen a lot of examples and we've walked you through them, now you are going to try these 4 on your own. So good luck and bring them back so you can go over them with your group.